Hi, Pipeline team. Let's talk about adding events and tasks, as well as how to add an activity or note to a deal, company, or a person. Help keep your workflow smooth and your sales process on track with tasks, events, and activities in Pipeline CRM. In this video, we'll break down what each one does, how to use them effectively, and a few tips to keep your CRM clean and productive. Let's start by clearing up what each term means before we dive into each one. Events, like you find in your calendar, are scheduled to-dos with a set start date and end time, like a meeting from 1 to 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Tasks are to-do items that you want to complete in the future. And activities are notes or records of actions you've already taken with a company, deal, or person. Think of them as your paper trail. You can go here. Let's just hop into Shannon. And you can see the activities here. You can create new tasks and events in a few different ways. You can head to the agenda. Here I'm in the agenda. I can click Add New, and that's going to add a new task. If I go to the calendar and click Add New, you have the option to add a task, but also the event that will land on the calendar. You can also, from any people, deal, or company profile, if I click into the GOAT company, if I scroll down, I can see I can add an activity here, and I can go here to my agenda and add a task or event. Also, from anywhere in the system, you can click this Add button at the very top and click Task and Event. Let's go ahead and add a new task. Give it a name, my birthday card, associate to a deal, person, or company. In this case, I would like to send it to Shannon. We're going to give it a type. I'm going to call it a to-do. I'm going to assign it to myself, although if I have the permissions, I could assign it to other users in my organization. If I'd like to give it a priority, I can. And I need to choose a due date. I would like this done by the 7th. Mail card. And I can click Save. You'll be able to see this coming up on your agenda when it gets a little closer, as in this week. If it goes past the due date, you'll see it in your past dues, and it will show up on November 7th for me for that demo on today. I could also go to my agenda. Let's give it a type, and let's say to do, and let's find that. There we go. Send birthday card. All I needed to do was to show more activities on the page, and I can see send birthday card here, the due date of 11/7. I can click into the task. I can change the name of the task here. I can pop over. I can add a note, and I can see the priority. I can click here in the completed box and click yes or no. If I go into Shannon Campbell, I'll also see that in my agenda coming up, I've got a LinkedIn message to send that's past due, upcoming birthday card that I just created, and then another task for the 13th. In here, I can click and I can postpone. Let's say I know I'm going to be out of town on the 7th. I could postpone for one day, and it'll change that to the 10th, which skipped the weekend for me. When it's complete, I can click here, and it is marked complete, and it's off my agenda. If you don't see a specific task that you know you've created, make sure you check for when the agenda is filtered for. Make sure it's for any time to show those upcoming. Now that you've created your tasks and events, let's go ahead and write a note about the GOAT company. For instance, let's say we met with Shannon here at the GOAT company. We would like to write a note about that. I'm going to scroll over to my activities. This is one way to add an activity. If I click right here, an activity box pops up. We could see that it's associated with this deal. If I'd like to associate with a different deal, I could. Right now, the activity category, let's say I had a phone call with Shannon, or I attempted to make a call. I could always say no answer, didn't leave a message. I could type that. However, if you notice, the one-click activities I've already created, no answer, did not leave voicemail, left voicemail, or will call me back. These one-click activities let you just click here and hit save. Let's go back again. If I click here, I can actually lock that so I can easily scroll over to, all right, let's leave a message for Todd. Click here. Let's say this wasn't a phone call, but it was an appointment. You could see that I have created a couple one-click activities for myself here. Let's create one now about the appointment. Need to follow up. Maybe that's something that I often type in my notes rather than having to retype that every time. I can make it a one-click activity that will pop up every time I click appointment, and there I can hit save. I can also notify, need to follow up. Maybe I would let Lauren to know as well that I've created this note. I can notify others. She will receive an email letting her know that she's been added to an activity. If I have any files to upload, I can simply click that here. Depending on your user's access levels, some may be able to see everybody's notes. Some may be more restricted. But if you would like to make something private, you can. I'm going to make this note private. Only Lauren can see it and only I can see it, as well as the executives and the admins. So it lets you leave a private note. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And you can see here, if I go back to Todd and I look at that activity, we could see that note was private. I've shown you how to create an activity from the list view, which is a great way to keep your workflow moving. You can always, let's go into Kimberly here. You can always scroll down and you can see the activity feed here. And just like in the list view, you can click add. You've got your different categories and all of your one-click activities are there. Save. Headed back to the agenda. You can filter for your own activities, your own types. Let's say I'd like to see how many appointments I have coming up or have been completed. You can see that here. You can save these lists, much like you can the company's deals and people list. If you have access, you are able to view other users' lists as well. And that's it. You're ready to manage your work and document your progress like a pro.